That's totally possible. Can you negotiate with Zelensky? You've pointed out that he has exceeded his term. He's not, democratically elected president of Ukraine anymore. So do you consider him a suitable partner for negotiations?
Putin addressed this issue as well, many times. In September 2022, during the first year of the special operation, Zelensky, in his conviction that he would be dictating the terms of the situation also to the West, he signed a decree prohibiting any negotiations with Putin's government. And when, during public events, after that episode, Putin is asked why Russia is not ready for negotiations, he said, don't turn it upside down. We are ready for negotiations, provided it will be based on the balance of interest tomorrow. But Zelensky signed this decree prohibiting negotiations. And for starters, why don't you tell him to cancel it publicly? This will be a signal that he wants negotiations. Instead, Zelensky invented his peace formula. Later it was additioned by victory plan. And they keep saying, we know what they say when they meet with European Union ambassadors and in other formats, they say no deal unless the deal is on our terms. And I mentioned to you they are planning now the second summit on the basis of this peace formula. And they don't shy away from saying we will invite Russia to put in front of it the deal which we agreed already with the West. And when our Western colleagues sometimes say nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine, in effect, this implies that anything about Russia without Russia, because they discuss what kind of conditions we must accept. By the way, recently they already violate tacitly the concept nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine. There are passes, there are messages. They know our position. We are not playing double game. What Putin announced is the goal of our operation. It's fair. It's fully in line with the United Nations Charter. First of all, the rights, language rights, minority rights, national minority rights, religious rights, and it's fully in line with OSCE principle. There is an organization for security and cooperation in Europe which is still alive. And the summit of this organization, well, several summits of this organization clearly stated that security must be indivisible, that nobody should expand his security at the expense of security of others, and that, most important, no organization in Euro-Atlantic space shall claim dominance. This was, last time it was confirmed by OSCE 2010. And NATO was doing exactly the opposite.
Yes.
So we have legitimacy, in our position. No NATO on our doorsteps because OSCE, agreed that this should not be the case if it hurts us. And please restore the rights of Russians.
Who do you think has been making foreign policy decisions in the United States? This is a question in the United States. Who is making these decisions?
I wouldn't guess. I haven't seen Tony Blinken for years. 2 years ago, I think, at the G20 summit, was it in Rome or somewhere? In the margins. His assistant, I was representing Putin, and his assistant came up to me during a meeting and said that Tony wants to talk just for 10 minutes. I left the room, we shook hands, and he said something about the need to de-escalate and so on and so forth. I hope he is not going to be angry with me since I am disclosing this. But we were meeting in front of many people present in the room. And I said, we don't want to escalate. You want to inflict strategic defeat upon Russia. He said, no, 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 no. It is not strategic defeat globally. It is only in Ukraine.
You've not spoken to him since?
No.
Have you spoken to any officials in the Biden administration since then?
I don't want to ruin their career.
But have you had meaningful conversations?
No, no. Not at all. No, when I met in international events, one or another person whom I know, an American, I mean.
Yeah.
Some of them say hello, some of them exchange few words, but I never impose myself because
but nothing meaningful behind the scenes.
It's becoming contagious, when they see when somebody sees an American talking to me or a European talking to me. Europeans are running away when they see me. During the last G20 meeting, it was ridiculous. Grown-up people, mature people, they behave like kids, so childish, unbelievable.
So you said that when in 2016 in December, the Obama administration left a bunch of bombs basically for the incoming Trump administration. In the last month since the election, you have all sorts of things going on politically in bordering states in this region that, in Georgia and Belarus, in Romania, and then, of course, most dramatically in Syria, you have turmoil. Does this seem like part of an effort by the United States to make the resolution more difficult?
There is nothing new, frankly, because the U.S. Historically, in foreign policy, was motivated by making some trouble and then to see if they can fish in the muddy water. Iraqi aggression, Libyan adventure, ruining the state, basically. Fleeing from Afghanistan, now trying to get back through the back door, using the United Nations, to organize some event where the U.S. can be present, in spite of the fact that they left Afghanistan in very bad shape and arrested money, don't want to give it back. I think this is, if you analyze the American foreign policy steps, adventures, most of them is the right word. That's the pattern. They create some trouble and then they see how to use it. In Georgia, this OSCE monitors elections. When it used to monitor elections in Russia, they would always be very negative. And on other countries as well, Belarus, Kazakhstan. This time in Georgia, the monitoring mission of OSCE presented a positive report. And it is being ignored. So when you need endorsement of the procedures, you do it when you like the results of the election. If you don't like the results of elections, you ignore it. It's like when the United States and other Western countries recognized unilateral declaration of independence of Kosovo, they said this is the self-determination being implemented. When a few years later, and there was no referendum in Kosovo, unilateral declaration of independence. By the way, after that, the Serbs approached International Court of Justice, which ruled that, normally they are not very specific, in their judgment, but they ruled that unilateral, or rather, when part of a territory declares independence, it is not necessarily to be agreed with the central authorities. And when a few years later Crimeans were holding referenda with invitation of many international observers, not from international organizations, but from parliamentarians in Europe, in Asia, in post-Soviet space, they said, no, we cannot accept this because this is violation of territorial integrity.
Right.
You pick and choose. The UN Charter is not a menu. You have to respect it in all its entirety.